Hey!
What's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is the WPwatercooler episode number 172. Today's topic is tools used to build a WordPress website. Let's go around the room real quick, get everyone introduced. We have a newbie, Bobby. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Newbie Bobby.
I'm a newbie. So this is my first podcast ever, so yay! And I've been a WordPress developer since 2007. I've written themes and plugins, and I've co-organized Austin's WordCamp 2014.
Awesome. How about you, Chris Lemma?
I'm Chris Lemma, and I help run the North County WordPress Meetup. And let's see, I will be speaking very shortly in about a week and a half over in Paris at WordCamp Paris. And then tail end of next month with Steve and others at WordCamp Miami.
What are you doing to Steve and others? Sorry, I missed that.
What happens in Miami?
Something in Miami. You know what they say about Miami?
No,
Chris Sherman, tell us about yourself.
I'm Chris Perryman. I'm a designer and developer and the founder of Mind Blowing Things, and I'm also leading the organization for WordCamp San Diego, so everybody come.
Nice. Woo. How about you, Jacob?
Hey, what's up? I'm Jacob. I'm a front-end developer here at Zeek Interactive.
Sweet. Mr. Cosper, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Jason Cosper. I am the developer advocate over at WP Engine, and I am on Twitter as @Booga. You should follow me.
Sweet. Russ, how about you?
My name is Russ. I run WordCamp Vegas, the WordPress Meetup group here in Vegas, and I'm rocking my 9-seat shirt because John Brown can't be here today.
How about you, Say?
Like most days. Oh, hey, my name's Say Reed, and I make WordPress, teach WordPress, love WordPress at Say Reed Media on all the things. What? I'm not going to be at San Diego, sorry. Or Paris. Or Miami. Wah, wah. Just so you know, you don't have to actually show up to those anymore.
How about you, Steve?
I am Steve Zenga. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress Meetup, and we'll be meeting tonight, our first meetup of the year at my office in Huntington Beach, 7 o'clock.
Nice. I'm Jason Tucker. Find me Jason Tucker on Twitter, and I blog over at wpmedia.pro and jasontucker.us. So, today's topic, we're talking about tools. You know, folks, if you're watching the show at home, don't sit there and try to write down every single thing that we're talking about here. We'll have a nice little link dump on our website. You can go check out the show notes there and be able to click on all the fun links and stuff. So, let's talk a little bit about this. How do you guys want to organize this? You know, this is one of those things that we don't talk about before the show, and now it's a show, so let's talk a little bit about it. So how do you guys want to organize this? Do you want to talk about, like, software that you use that connects to WordPress? Do you guys want to talk about just, like, Photoshop and that sort of thing?
Yeah, let's get all the tools jokes out of the way at the beginning.
I thought you were talking about...
We're talking about Steve.
When I think of WordPress, I think of Photoshop. That's exactly what I think about.
No, when I think of WordPress tools, I think of Steve.
All right, see? There, okay. It's gone. It's done.
Okay, sorry. I had to do it. It's done. It's moving on. We have to just clear our cache, guys. It's something you have to do. Speaking of clearing your cache, that can be, I find it really handy to turn off super cache when you're developing. Okay.
Removing the transients.
It's a very general topic you've come up here with.
Exactly.
Are we talking about
It's general for a reason.
Internal tools, software. What are we talking about?
Well, we always talk about plugins,
Right.
and I kind of want to not talk about plugins because we've done plenty of plugin shows where we've talked about our favorite social media plugins. We've talked about all sorts of fun stuff like that, and so at this point, it's like, okay, we've talked about all those. What are the things that we use to kind of build the site? What are the things that we're connecting with? Maybe what editors we're using. Like for me, I use Coda.
Okay.
I love Coda. I love Coda. Everyone's like, oh, screw Coda, and I'm like, screw you.
Jason?
Coda's awesome. I use Atom by the folks at GitHub. It's
I use Atom
really
as
nice, open source, really cool. Has some great plugins and everything, extensions for it. There's a PHP CodeSniffer that is ridiculously awesome. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck to set up, but once you do,
I don't do that
it's
anymore.
super cool.
I use Sublime.
That was in college. All the code
Nobody using Sublime?
No, I'm still using Sublime. Love it.
I
Sublime's
use
awesome.
Sublime as well. I use Sublime Text 3 though. I don't use 2. I use 3.
Right.
Yep, gotta have 3.
Yeah.
And I use brackets.
Wait, you don't use
I
an
love-
old version of a software? That is a good thing to report.
Well, it was in beta for like a really long time though, so I think a lot of people forgot about it.
Which one was that?
In beta.
Sublime Text 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is no one else using Visual Studio for the Mac?
I am not.
I don't think I'm old enough for that joke.
Front page? No front page?
That one I
just-
have. Yay, back in my demographic.
I didn't buy a ticket for that joke. I'm just saying.
Just so we're clear, Visual Studio now exists for the Mac. In case you didn't know.
Okay.
It does. Isn't it actually a fork of Atom? Aren't they leveraging technology from Atom to do that?
I made the switch from Sublime to Atom like a year ago, just like Jason, and I like the package manager a lot better on Atom. It's much easier to bring in themes and third-party packages, so it's really, really cool.
And you can update all the packages from the
Does
command
it
line if
matter
you're
what
into that
size
sort
your
of thing.
package is? Can you bring them all in?
You can bring all your packages in.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Is there an Emmet Lifestyles package for it?
Yeah, there's an Emmet. Yep. There's a really cool PHP sniffer that helps you avoid the WordPress white screen a lot better. So it'll pick up your errors before you actually save. So that's really neat.
So I remember you showing us that at the WordPress meetup. You were talking about how, yeah, it was you, right, Jacob? You were talking about how Emmet worked?
Emmet, yep.
You can't say words like sniffer or it will just automatically crack up.
I lost the thread. I don't know what we're talking about because I was thinking about making jokes.
Okay, so Adam, when you're typing in your PHP, it will detect whether you are making a syntax error, right? And in WordPress, if you make an error in PHP, a lot of times you'll end up with a white screen and not know what the problem is.
Does that do that differently than other text editors, or is it like super fancy special?
Well, not all text editors do that, right? Because in order for the text editor to do it, it has to have an understanding of
the library.
The syntax for the specific language you're playing with. Now, that's one thing to do it if you're doing it with a programming language like PHP. It's another if you're doing it with the libraries specifically associated with, say, WordPress, right? So you want to make a call to a WordPress function, a core function, to be able to do that kind of IntelliSense or to sniff out any errors in that is a little bit of a bigger deal. So I think what he's highlighting is the benefit of being that tightly coupled to not only programming languages but WordPress is that it protects you from writing bad code.
Wait, it has WordPress hooks and stuff in it specifically, or just PHP?
No, I'm talking specifically PHP. For instance, if you're missing a semicolon or if you're missing a closing bracket, it'll say, hey, you're missing a closing bracket, this column, this line.
It actually says, yo, fool, you're missing a bracket.
It's got a Mr. Teeth functionality to it?
It's cool.
That's a skin. That's a skin.
It's a paid feature.
Can I get a Lenny and Squiggy skin?
That's a language pack.
That's an out. Say wouldn't understand that reference.
Yeah, I'm like, man, you're
That'd be a little Vernon Shirley one.
At WordCamp Orange County, there was actually a talk about debugging WordPress by using PhpStorm. And so I've been using PhpStorm to debug everything, and it's actually pretty great. I wasn't thrilled about paying money for a license, but actually now it's not a bad thing. I'm a big fan of PHP.
Well, okay, I'm curious about that. Why aren't you thrilled about paying money for a license?
I like money in my pocket.
I get that.
He lives in Vegas.
I get that, but what if it saves you time?
It actually does save me time. I wasn't thrilled about paying for an individual versus a group, but now that our meetup group, they will go ahead and sponsor meetup groups, and they will give you like a license and stuff. So now, after using that for a trial, I now pay for it because I want all the added features.
So it's amazing how that those freemium licenses work. They like really get you sometimes.
It makes me sad when somebody's doing a demo of like Sublime, and then the first thing that pops up, because they hit save like 900 times, and the first thing that pops up is the message saying, "Hey, so you've saved, so many times. You need to pay us now, and you don't have to, but you can hit the close button, but you should pay us." And then they just close the button like instantly. You're like, oh, come on, you're using this tool. You should definitely pay for it.
Only tools don't pay for their tools.
Russ,
another category.
Oh, go on, Chris.
I was just saying another category of tool that we use a lot over at Crowd Favorite is a project management tool. Different people use a lot of different ones. We end up having to use all of them because we have a default. By default, we use Basecamp, but our customers may ask us to use several different kinds, and we use them all. But I'm a big fan. What it turns out after having used and looked at all of these, I'm a big fan of defining kind of how you use the tool, which is what makes a tool useful, right? Different organizations use them differently, but what becomes a task, what becomes a task list, what becomes a card, what does it take for something to move from, if you're doing Kanban stuff like Trello, what does it take to move from one to another in terms of columns? It's that process-oriented stuff that you write up that makes all those tools valuable. But we have used Trello, we've used Basecamp, we've used Asana, we've used a bunch of them. And it's more it's the logic of how you use it than the tool itself, but we tend to use a lot of those.
I have a Sarah. That's what I use. Sarah. That's my project management system. No, we use Assembla. Assembla is the project management system that we settled on years ago, and we tried several of them as well.
We use Asana, and I love it. We do, like you said, have clients that want us to use other things, so we use like Basecamp or whatever, but I love Asana. I think the UI is awesome. And
it just keeps getting better, too.
Yeah, the other day they asked, like, at the top it'll be like, do you have suggestions? So I, typed a couple things in, and, I'm sure this was already, in a ticket somewhere, but, the next day my suggestion showed up as, an update. I'm like, what?
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey, Lemma, I have a question for you. Are you using different management tools because it's something that you're communicating with your client? So what we do here is that we use JIRA specifically. All my techs use JIRA, but then clients will ask us to use Basecamp to communicate with them. So do you have that set up, or do you strictly use one tool per project per client?
It totally depends on the client, right? So some clients will say, this is our solution. We'll put you into our solution, and we want everything to run. Not just related to project management, but even private repos for GitHub, and we haven't talked about Git yet, but sometimes we're using our own, and sometimes we're using theirs. Some clients will show up and say, we're the 800-pound gorilla in the space, right? We're going to tell you what we do, and you're like, oh, okay, right? We'll do it. And other times, we'll just run our internal stuff, and then our PMs will jump into their system to give them updates. So it really kind of depends. Sometimes they want direct access to what the developers are doing and how they're doing it, and sometimes they're like, just do whatever and get my PM to update me.
Fair enough.
I just like to point out here that we've gone 14 minutes without mentioning, until we mentioned Git. I just wanted to just note that. 14 minutes in, we mentioned Git.
I think the Git thing is kind of,
it's been gotten.
Well, we're probably already all using it. I think we're probably already using
unlocked.
I'm still the biggest fan of Firebug. I love it. I don't care about Chrome tools. I don't care about any of the other tools. I only care about Firebug, which I still use a lot because I'm still doing small CSS edits in the admin for clients on different themes using the Jetpack.
And I gotta tell you, I've been using Chrome and Chrome tools for a while now, and I used to use Firebug. I'm switching back to Firefox because Chrome is such shit.
It's such a tool.
I'm sorry, I know Jason's in a church, but it is really bad.
It's really bad. I don't know why everyone's so all into it.
Worse. What?
I think the Lord would even forgive that Chrome is such a...
Yeah, God's like, it is. It's true.
So what's making you switch to Firefox, and what are you going to use for some of the things that... I mean, I have my Firefox loads up and it's almost like the menu bar on my Mac, where I end up with like every single little icon. I mean, I have Bartender running on my Mac, which kind of hides all of these little menu items. Like, what are you going to use for some of these things? They're made just for Chrome, so
Okay, I just want to backtrack a minute. Is it me? Is it only me, or is Chrome just unstable?
Well, I mean, we can talk about it in terms of their continuous updates and how we're trying to like emulate that model with WordPress. Is definitely
me.
Let's not talk about that.
It's not just you. It's a memory hog.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad things about Chrome, so I would like to say that maybe we all agree that Chrome is not a good tool to use.
No.
What?
I don't have problems with Chrome.
Oh, well.
I don't have any problems either.
I'm still going to use it, like, in terms of finding out, like, how I can optimize images and how I
you
can
guys,
define scripts.
So
you
much
guys
for
who
expenses.
you guys who don't have problems probably only have 1, 2, or 3 tabs open. And,
Oh.
and
Oh, no, I have 100 right
No,
now.
I have about 15 right now.
Yeah, I have about 15 right now as
I'm
well.
going to go live to a screen share, and you're going to be freaked out. With the amount of tabs that I have open.
So I have a solution for that, and I've been using this thing called Tab Suspender, and what it does is it makes the tab time out after so many minutes, and then it'll just stop, loading that content. So if you,
Jason,
for instance,
I
if you have
need
something
that
like
content, and I need it to be updated
Suspender,
right now.
like what Work used to wear?
no, like it suspends it, it stops. Yeah.
Not suspenders.
That's for Chrome, Jason?
Yeah, it's for Chrome.
No, I like it.
I'll find the link and pop it in the notes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they made a tool to solve the problem of Chrome being crappy, is what that is really in there.
Really, if you think about it, like for instance, if you have like Twitter or Facebook open, it's constantly loading stuff using Ajax, jQuery, blah blah blah. But then all this stuff just keeps loading into that tab. Well, if you suspend the tab, this tab actually stops loading the content, and then what ends up happening is you have some tabs that you can whitelist and other tabs that you don't whitelist, and you can make it so that Facebook just goes to sleep when you're not using it, and then
Maybe I don't have social media open in my tabs except Asana runs. That's it.
I put social media in Safari, and I'll let Safari crash whenever it wants to.
So what other like dev tools or fun tools do you guys use?
Photoshop.
I use CodeBox, which is a nice one to organize like snippets of code that you frequently use.
I love snippets. I use text editor. It's super organized.
But
Does anybody use Dash?
No.
I use the PC version of that, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
Is that for storing code?
It's probably called board, like one's dash, one's board.
Dash it allows you to put in a lot of documentation that you can store offline. So if you're traveling a lot and you need access to documentation, like jQuery or Bootstrap or WordPress Codex, you can hit up offline documentation. But it also allows you to store a lot of code snippets, right? And it allows you to do keyboard shortcuts. So you can store a snippet or any string, and then you can save it via a keyboard shortcut. For example, let's just say you want to put in dummy text like lorem ipsum. You save a lorem ipsum, you save it as dash lorem ipsum. So as soon as you type in whatever keyboard shortcut you saved it as, it'll just spit it out no matter what program you're in. So you can be in Chrome, you can be in WordPress, you can be in the text editor. That can work for strings, code, whatever you want. So
That's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want that now.
We have Jacob on. Nobody's really mentioned Sass.
I just posted a link 2 seconds ago to SassMeister. It's one of my favorite things for compiling Sass.
What about
I think he was giving you what's called a segue, Russ. That was supposed to be a lead-in to you talking about that. Just a hunch, though.
I thought it was a weird coincidence that I posted a link and then there was, hey, by the way, we haven't mentioned Sass.
Softball.
Russell, what do you use
Teamwork.
for? What do you use SassMeister for, Russell?
I use SassMeister for everything, mostly to see like where I'm going wrong.
Cooking dinner, grocery shopping.
Use it to see where you're going wrong in life, or
in general, I use it as a moral
dating
compass. That's exactly what it is.
Your SassMeister SassMeister is your moral compass. That actually works.
What are you guys using for page refreshing when you're updating stuff? Are people still using something like live refresh or anything like that?
I use CodeKit to compile my Sass, and it also does live reload.
Nice.
I use Gulp.
I'm old
Plus one
school
for
and
golf.
just use Command R.
Does that work?
I use the little circle icon.
Command R. That's awesome.
Does anybody
CodeKit's good stuff.
Does anybody use CodePen these days?
I use CodePen and Gist.
Yeah, a lot of times
I
I
use
find
this pen.
CodePen, if anybody doesn't know, for those of you who don't know, is a front-end kind of playground, kind of like SassMeister, if you're familiar with SassMeister. It allows you to put in HTML, JavaScript, CSS, or Sass, and you can see it live on your screen. So it allows you to try new things. A lot of times that's the first place I go to when I want to try something, and then I'll transfer that onto a WordPress template.
That's interesting. Like, I use CodeKit, but usually to help people, like, provide examples or whatever, you know, like on Stack Exchange or...
Yeah,
But
that's
I've never really thought of using it as a tool for myself.
I use JS Fiddle for all that. So when people are like, "Hey, I'm having problems with this JavaScript," I'll use JS Fiddle for Stack Exchange, or I forget what the other one is though.
Oh, jeez.
Quora. It's Quora. That's where I used it.
Quora?
Quora, yeah.
CodePen is really good if you want to explore. It's kind of like Dribble, but for coding, if you're familiar with Dribble.
Why do people name things so terribly?
Because all of the dictionary words are gone. Now we have to make up stuff.
But it's
that's dribble with 3 B's.
Yeah, 3 B's. But CodePen is good.
Don't spell dribble wrong.
Don't spell dribble wrong. If you are Googling, you will get other things.
As a front-end developer, CodePen is good because if you want to kind of see what other people are doing it and how they're doing it, you can see their code right away.
Yeah.
I can't forget to mention desktop server because I use that for everything.
Yep.
Yes.
Two of the ones we use a lot are BlazeMeter, which does load tests. If you're trying to drive a deeper understanding of how a site will scale, that's really, really helpful. And then we also use BrowserStack to, there are, as much as we want to declare that certain versions of Internet Explorer are dead, they still exist. And so trying to get a handle on what it's going to look like.
Internet Explorer's dead.
I know.
It's not even around anymore.
Yeah.
Edge. It's Edge now.
Yeah.
Edge. Because we're living on the edge.
What?
We have more problems with Firefox than anything else these days. It's the new Internet Explorer.
Do not say those things.
Good job, Steve. Good job picking that one.
I'm gonna start using Opera.
I'm going back to
To it.
Netscape, man. That's what I'm saying.
Netscape Gold.
Let's go back.
I
Back.
use a lot of WP CLI as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys,
I've already made that joke.
the CLI joke?
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's see
I
here.
don't have
I'm looking
anything
through my
cool.
list.
We're only talking about dev.
Well, we're not. I mean, there's no focus here. It's just whatever types of
There
tools that they're
isn't?
tying into.
Oh,
Didn't say-
design,
Last we really haven't said Photoshop.
I refuse to stop using Fireworks. That's just what I use. It's amazing, okay?
You know
And
why?
it has like a cult following.
Jason, who was the guy on WP Blab that says that he's still using Fireworks? Was that him?
Jonathan? I think it was Jonathan.
John Denwood?
He needs to be my
thought-
new best friend. Who
I
is
thought
it?
didn't they kill fireworks?
They did.
Oh yeah,
about
they
12
did, but I still have a crusty version from like season 6.
They have to boot up in Rosetta first before they could get that thing to load.
Katy Perry brought it back, so.
boy.
I tried some Photoshop alternatives, and I couldn't do it. So I use Photoshop.
Jason is all on the sleek or the slack or the slither or the slithy.
No. See, no.
Sketch. I found it. Sketch.
Yeah.
I knew it was something like that.
I'm using Kai's Power Tools. I like that one.
I've always preferred Power Goo over Power Tools, but that's just me.
Although I do, for my
I don't know if you
clients
guys
who
can-
don't have
Type Styler is a good one.
I don't know if you guys can see behind me. I still have a whiteboard and dry erase markers. Like that's what I'm still doing.
Me too.
Steve, are you still using your Fontographer license?
Photographer. I knew you were gonna say that.
Oh.
What about home site?
I do all my wireframes in Quark. So
Oh, Quark.
It's a debate.
It's like
It's a debate
slow
for
late
me.
90s right
Quark,
there.
PageMaker, Quark, Page. It's a religious war. We'll deal with it later, Jason.
You guys, we are dating the crap out of ourselves today. I would just like to point that out.
Photographer's still around.
So
I still have my Netscape Composer license.
I
Wow.
like TypeKit.
so can I just
So you know.
So is TypeStyler. TypeStyler's still around as well. Oh, amazing.
You know,
I've been using a lot of SVGs lately, so
Yeah, let's get us back on track, please.
okay. So I've been using IcoMoon. They have a big library of SVGs available, and you can spit out all the SVG code, and it's free. There's a paid version as well. So if you're looking to get on the SVG camp, IcoMoon's a good resource.
Yeah, we do all of our custom icons through IcoMoon too. It's pretty awesome.
what are you guys using for image optimization? I'm using ImageOptim.
Yep, ImageOptim. After you talked about it, that was the one I ended up switching to.
Kraken.io. I like Kraken.io.
I'm a huge fan of Kraken because it lets me say release the Kraken.
I believe
Some things are just worth it, really.
But you
get that
gotta say it in the right voice.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But
I believe they send you a poster if you're the 1000th customer.
I introduced it to the corporate to crowd favorite, and then in the Slack, they ended up one guy after looking at it said, "Yes, let's deploy this, or let's use some." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Have you not seen this?
Say release the Kraken and you didn't?" I'm like, "You're fired. I'm sorry."
It's a test. It's actually a test on your employment process. You're like, do you say
Although
this properly or not?
after having read everything that Cosper said about the one he's using, I may have to go back and look at my use of Kraken. So
I have a tool that I use on this show every week, and it's a thing called Titler. And if you're not familiar with the services menu on the Mac, Titler is a thing that you give it a list of all the links, and then you highlight it, and then you right-click on it, and you run the Titler script. And what it does is it goes out and grabs the title of all of the posts for all those links, and then it rewrites it for you in Markdown. And if you want, you can put it into HTML or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's
cool.
awesome.
That's a Brett Terpstra tool, and Brett Terpstra makes awesome stuff.
That thing makes me be able to do this show notes so fast just by highlighting stuff, copy pasting, and then running it.
I do have to give a quick shout out to the Adobe Creative Cloud. Like, if you haven't switched over to cloud, it's well worth the money.
Except that it doesn't have fireworks, so...
I understand that, because they're not maintaining that product anymore, but the Creative Cloud is way worth it.
I'm a fan of the cloud.
I'm sure they'll have fireworks DC sometime.
Firewalk,
soon.
is that?
Firewalker, yeah.
And maybe all this will come back around and we'll buy it from them, and then they'll spin it up.
So can I just say that one of the tools that I usually go to first is the advanced Facebook group on WordPress. That's usually where I start when I'm looking to get into something new, like learning JavaScript.
I like the name dropping. But
I like how you combined advanced Facebook group with learning something new, and then are violating the rules of the group as you do it. Yes, awesome.
Yeah.
Russ is like, mic drop.
Folks, it's 11:30.
It is.
Thank God.
Yep. Everyone, make sure you go over to our website, WPwatercooler.com. Click on the links there to check all those out. We do another show on Thursdays at 7:30. It's called WP Blab. Go check that out, too. And lastly, we're doing some cool stuff over at WP Watercooler Recommends. So check those out. We got some new stuff coming out from Russ pretty soon here, and I'm going to be doing some as well. So thank you all for being on the show. You have a good rest of your day. Make sure you push the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, and the like button. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Don't forget you're a firework.